wonderful Wednesday. This is a weekly series of tutorials that I do here on my YouTube channel where I share a free tutorial. We follow a little schedule. The first Wednesday of every month is our tag of the month. Then we do our banner of the month, followed by the card of the month. And then the fourth week of every month is a wind back Wednesday where I choose an older collection to update. And then if there's a fifth Wednesday, we do a home decor. So this is the first Wednesday in February 2025, and we're doing our tag of the month. And last month in January, we worked with Prima's gorgeous home baker collection. And so many of you purchased the collection and wanted me to continue making projects with it that we're actually going to work with this again in February, along with Graphic 45 Season to Celebrate. That will be our banner of the month this month. So I've got my bits and bobs. This collection has sold out pretty much everywhere. Can't find the recipe cards. I only have 3 left. I have a few of the journaling cards left, which, as you can see, are just gorgeous. I did pick up the little chipboard sentiments. Got a little bag full of scraps, 6 by 6, and this is what I have left of the 12 by 12. And then I have some ephemera pieces and fussy cut pieces left. So we're going to work with this again this month, and we're going to make our tag. And I thought about what I wanted to do, and because the images of this collection are big, I decided we needed to do a big tag. So I pulled out some corrugated cardboard, and I cut it to measure, hold on, I believe it's 6.5 by 9. And then what I did was I found the center point at the top, which 6.5 cut in half is 3 1/4. I made a little mark at the 3 1/4, and I measured over, let me find my little mark. On each side, I measured over 2 inches, and then made a mark here, and then came down 1.5 inches and made a mark, drew a line, and then cut between those lines to make this tag. I used my 1/2 inch corner chomper to round out the bottom corners. And what we're going to do is glue these 2 tags together. Now, because, you know, I don't have precision tools, I was using my old guillotine. I had to come in and trim a little bit to make everything match perfectly. But we're going to glue these 2 together, and I want to actually, on one of these, slightly tear the edges. So I'm going to wet this. This is just water. Let that get good and wet. Kind of rub it in, get it soaked. Because I want to have like a little tearaway side, and the water helps the glue on the back side of the corrugate release. So instead of just looking like, you know, an old piece of cardboard, it's going to look pretty cool. So you can see I'm just tearing away at these edges. And do you see how neat that looks? So when I hit this with my paint, that's going to create a really fun edge. Okay, I'm just going to go around, and you can do this to the back side as well. If you want to clear away this little membrane or web that's in there, you can do that. But I like revealing that corrugate that's below, and so you can just do this. It takes a minute. I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole thing, but basically this is all I'm doing, is going in and tearing away the corrugate edge. So you go ahead if you want to do this, do that. If you don't want to do this, just go ahead and glue your 2 tags together so that we have a nice thick tag. It looks really cool. All right, so I'll be back when I've glued these together. All right, friends, you can see I've peeled back my paper liner and I've glued these together. Then I eyeballed the center and I very carefully used my red handled scissors here to poke through and make an opening. And once I had an opening, I came in with my bone folder and I just kind of went round and round. So this is where we're going to put our ribbon and fabric and stuff. It's going to be very cool. The next step I want to do is paint these edges. And I've got Evergreen Bough Distress Paint. Mine's getting old and it's a little gloppy, but I thinned it with a little water and I think we're going to be okay. And I'm not going for total coverage here. I kind of want this to be, I want a little bit of that corrugate peeking through. So you can see I'm just going to paint the edges on both sides of this tag. Brush, and we'll be back and do the next step. So now I've got my tag in this, I call this my spray box. It's just an old shipping box and I like to spray things inside it because it keeps the mess at bay. And one of these days I'll cut these flaps out and use them for something cool. But today I'm going to now spritz this with some Speckled Eggs Distress Stain. I like the way these two colors play together in this collection. They just create a really, it's like a perfect color match shade. So I'm going to do this on both sides and heat dry it. So now I've sprayed and I'm going to come in with some Antique Bronze Distress Stain and I'm just going to dab it randomly around these edges. I don't want too heavy a coverage. I just want a little bit of, this has just that tiny bit of shine to it. And I've taken one of my 12 by 12 cellophane bags that your paper comes in, and I put this down. I've used the sticky to hold this in place because I don't like to clean up messes if I can help it. So I like to try to keep, I keep things like this in my stash to help me. Yeah, I really like the way that looks. That's looking really cool. And the last thing I'm going to do is spatter this with some cream paint. And then I think we're done preparing the tag base. So I've put my cream paint down here on my cellophane and I thinned it with some water. A lot of my paint is older. I wish they sold paint in little itty tiny containers. But anyway, I'm picking this up with my paintbrush and I'm just going to spatter. Guys, this dries, I clean my paintbrush, and start doing the paper part, which is where it gets really fun. Now we're ready to add our designer papers. I'm going to start with the back side of my tag, and from my 12 by 12, I had this scrap that was about 9 1/4, and I cut it to a height of 7. And this is going to be a fun little pocket flap element. I also took, this is also from the 12 by 12. This is from that same sheet from the top. I cut it with the branding strip on, and this is about 5, it's about 5 5/8. Also by 7, and I scored a 1/2 inch flap on the right hand side. So the very first thing we're going to do is adhere this flap, And I'm not going to attach this to the tag until we've done everything that we're going to do. It's just easier that way. So I'm going to line this up with this fold. Oh, and I forgot to tell you what I scored that at, but the width is, just put this down. I scored this at 5 3/4. All right. So this 9 1/4 is scored at 5 3/4. So you've got this flap, and then you've put this page over that, and you've got this flap. Now you've got to make a decision here. You can turn this into a pocket, which is what I'm going to do, or you can have this actually function as a little book. Both things are really cool, and I may even want to rethink adding the pocket, but I think I do want to add a pocket. So I cut some little gussets. This is a 1-inch wide piece of paper, and I've cut this slightly smaller than the width of our little flap here, which is 3 1/2. So I went 3 1/4, and then I just fold it in half. I'm just sharing this quickly for people who've never done a gusseted pocket before. The rest of you can move ahead to the next section. I'm gluing the folded edge against the outside edge. All right. And what this does is it gives us the full width of the pocket. You know how if you glue or tape a pocket down, you lose some of that width? Well, I want the full width of this pocket because this is where I want to put my recipe cards. I only have 3 left. I'm going to put 2 of them in here. Okay, so now I'm putting the adhesive on the top of my gusset, and then we just close this flap. And when we open this, see, we've got a beautiful pocket right here, and we can put our recipe cards in there. All right, and this is sweet. I love this. So I'm just going to crease this all down. So to decorate this page, this is what I decided. I found in my scraps this really sweet piece. I trimmed it to a width of 4 3/4, and the height is just barely under 6, all right? And then from my 6 by 6, I cut this 4 3/4 by 6-inch piece and scored a 1/2-inch flap along the top. And we're just going to make a simple little waterfall feature on the back, nothing fancy, just really cute with all these darling little images. So this flap is going to fold around the back. And then this is also from the 6 by 6, and of course it's 4 3/4, but it is 5 1/2 with a 1/2-inch flap. And then this makes this sweet little waterfall feature. All right, whoops, line this up. And then we're going to glue this whole piece to our flap page. And I want the margins top and bottom to be approximately the same. So I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch at the top and a 1/2 inch at the bottom. And see, now these will open. And this is glued down. Actually, I'm going to do it here because it's so cute on this page. The tail, when I glue it down, I'll just show you. I'm going to turn it up so that it's inside our flaps, and it's less likely to get broken off that way. If you're wondering where my Sweet Petunia precision glue press is, the answer is it's taking a bath. It had gotten kind of full on the inside. See how I just turned that tail up like that? It had gotten kind of full of glue, and I wanted to clean it off because it was affecting the function. So I just soak it in really hot water in the sink, and then I go in and clean the glue out, and it's just like new again. So that's why I'm not working with that. On this front page, I've just taken this little rolling pin, and we're just going to put this down like a title. Homemade. Right about there. Just to fill in some of that, all that blank. All right. Then we're going to turn this. All right. We're not going to do anything here. You can put a picture here. You can write a recipe in here. We're going to turn this to here. And because these guys are upside down, I took this fussy cut image. This is from the 12 by 12. And I'm going to glue it down. I want our cabinet to line up with the left-hand edge. I'm going to press this into place. I'm going to take this little mousy tail and do the same thing, kind of curl it in so it comes up over her dress, her little pinafore. She's so sweet. All right, then I'm going to turn this and trim the edge. And see how cute that looks there? That's really adorable. And now I can finish putting my glue down because I know where everything landed. All right, this page right here, this page right here, I took a 4 1/4. It's just a scrap. This is 4 1/4 by almost 3. I scored 1/2 inch on the sides and the bottom. Just this is for folks who are new. We've had a lot of new people, which I thank you guys for sharing and subscribing. I trimmed out those corners. I folded in these flaps, so now we've got a beautiful pocket. And we'll glue this down. I'm hoping we don't cover up those cute mice. Just like this. Oh, that worked out perfectly. Don't you love it when things work out the way you want them to? I do. All right, and then I've got 2 of our 3 by 4 cards that are going to tuck right into that pocket. And I might dress that up with some ephemera or something, but you get the idea, right? And then in here, we're going to put our recipe cards. So in lieu of a recipe card, I took this 6 by 6. I cropped the corners. I scored it at 4 because you could write a simple recipe in here. And then I folded it and cropped the top. And you could actually even write more of the recipe on the back. And then this recipe card tucks in here, and these tuck in the pocket. So now we take our baker's twine. We wrap it around this whole thing because this is going to hold everything together. And this is our brown sugar baker's twine. I'm just going to tie a bow. Just like that. And then trim the ends. Okay. I'm going to put adhesive under our baker's twine to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to put adhesive all along the back of this piece. We're going to glue this down right here, making sure I'm centered, trying to be straight. There we go. There we go. And I'll find some sort of little succulent or something to go there as a turn tab, but that's the back. And now we can do the front, but I wanted to do the back while we could lay our tag flat. The front is fairly simple. I have this piece cut from the 12 by 12. This is 5 3/4, of course, by 7, which is kind of what we're doing for dimensions. And we're going to glue this down. And you can use either side of the paper that you like. I liked the side that has the kitchen utensils, but the side that has the flowers and the recipe page is also beautiful. So again, I'm going to center this up. And just press that into place. And it will stick, it just takes it a minute. And then I distressed the edges of this panel with my distressing tool. If you don't have a distressing tool, you can just use the blade of your scissors and run it along there. For the bottom, I've created a little pocket. This is from a scrap. This is 5 3/4 inches by 2.5, and I scored a 1/2 inch on the bottom, and then I made some little gussets for the sides. And this is going to hold something pretty cool. This all works in my head, you know. This is like a live cooking show where you get to watch me, and sometimes it goes like smooth as silk, and sometimes we hit some speed bumps, but you guys are very gracious about hanging in there with these ideas that are in my head get put into practice. I'm going to put this slightly above that distressed edge because I don't want to lose that. All right, so now we have a pocket. Okay, this is Fussy cut from the 12 by 12. She was sort of sitting above this, and I cut this into 2 pieces so that it would fit our tag. I've put foam tape along the bottom edge, but I'm also going to put a little hot glue there just to make sure we have a good hold. And this is going to come right down like that. Okay, so notice that there's no foam here. This is just like a little pocket decoration with a little dimension to it. And then here's our little mousie that we cut out, and I did the same thing with her. She has foam tape along the left-hand edge, little bits of foam tape on her sash, a little bit on her tail, along the bottom. All right. And she's going to go right down here. Okay. And notice there's no adhesive here. All right, I've kept that open. I am going to glue the little tip of her tail down so she doesn't lose it. Nothing worse than a mouse that's lost its tail. All right, so now I created some tags to sit down in this pocket. And if I did everything right, we should be able to slip these in. Aren't they cute? These are just 6x6 papers that I cut in half at 3. I cropped the top and the bottom, added a grommet with my crocodile, a little snippet of ribbon, and a button. And I'm going to show you, with any luck, we can get all 4 of them in here. And if we can't, we can put the others inside. It's not the end of the world. But I'll just show you very quickly how to do the ribbon. This is a 4-inch piece of brown twill ribbon that goes through the grommet. Get it so that it's straight and bring the ends up like this. Then I have a doubled up piece of baker's twine, and I'm just going to wrap this around, get my ends straight. And I like to use bigger pieces than I think I'm going to need, because if you don't have enough, you can't tie a pretty bow. And you can always trim, but you cannot add. So I'm just tying it like that, and then I'm just coming underneath and tying a simple square knot like that. And then I'm going to tie a bow with my baker's twine. Trim the tails. You can use these little pieces to thread buttons. All right. And then here's my little button. I thought these kind of beige buttons looked good with this. And that goes there. So I didn't cover the backs. I didn't mat these because they're pretty on the back, and I didn't want to cover that up. And that's why I added the grommet to keep the ribbon from tearing. So let's see if we can get all 4 of these in this pocket. Actually, we can, which is pretty cool. See? So there's that. And then, hold on. This is a fussy cut scrap. This piece of lace, pretty lace from Renee Bouquets. Let's put this down. I'm going to put the shiny side as the back side. I'm going to add my glue. All right. This is just fussy cut from the top of one of those little cabinets. I used this when I was doing those pop-ups that I made. And the piece was a little too tall, so I had to trim it. All right, that goes right there. Super cute. For the top, I've got 3 different ribbons that I like together. And I'm going to fold them in half. They're about 12, maybe 14 inches long. I'm going to put them through our hole. And then pull the legs through the loop. Like that. That's really cute. And then I'm going to tie, yeah, I like that a lot. I'm going to tie a bow to go up here with the brown tartan. And down here, I put this little piece of scrap paper in my pocket because I don't want to glue my pocket shut. And I'm going to come in with a brown flower. These are just various ones from my stash. This one, I believe, is from Really Reasonable Ribbon. I don't even know if they still have it because her inventory has been greatly reduced. This one's a Prima flower that I just had in my stash, as is this one. So let's, whoops. And some of these are actually like from Christmas collections and different things. Prima does a lot of teals in some of their Christmas collections. So just like that. Then I tied a bow with my tartan. I'm going to tuck this under And push it into place with my scissor blade. And once that has set up, I'll fuss that bow a little bit. All right. I did come in and take the, I wish I could show you the back. I did it by feel. I just kind of took, I took the foam tape off the little mousy, top of the mousy, because now look what we can do. We can fit all of these tags into our pocket. And I just think that looks better. So that was a little adjustment I made. I'm just gonna tie a bow for up here. I'm gonna add flowers to the top, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks finished. All right, friends, here we are, all finished up. I've added a little flower, our bow treatment at the top, this little bundt cake charm, which cracks me up. We have all 4 of our tags in our little pocket and some flowers and a ribbon down here at the bottom. So that's really cute. On the back side, I've added another bow, which I haven't fussed yet. It gets kind of smashed when it's laying down on the table, but there you go. And these cute kitchen utensils and 3 buttons down the side. So that finishes us up for our tag of the month for February 2025. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll have fun making your own great big tags. It's very easy to do with corrugated cardboard. You don't even have to peel the top off like I did. I just like the way that looks. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back next week with our banner of the month. We'll be using Graphic 45 Season to Celebrate Spring papers. And that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Thanks for joining me, friends. Go get your craft on. Bye.